Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome to another episode of our Quantum Conversation Summit Series, Timelines, Creating the Most Benevolent Outcomes. My guest today is an absolute beautiful teacher who has been working with her clients on correcting timelines. Oftentimes, these are karmic entanglements. What does that mean? We're going to learn about that with Sophie Bidard, who again is with us on a high level of light. Hi, Sophie. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Lauren. It's wonderful to be back with you and with the New Earth One community. Thank you for having me today for a powerful time together today. Thank you.
It's always powerful with Sophie. She is a big hitter in the quantum realm, let's say, because this is all about power, empowerment, and disempowerment. So, Sophie, as we're talking about timelines and the work that you do with karmic entanglements, can you explain what are karmic entanglements? And they absolutely do create timelines that many of us are unaware of. So this is a big cleanup job in this lifetime, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and we each of us have to do our share. Now, let me give you the highlights of what the karmic entanglements are and how they are created, right? And we can have karmic entanglements about many topics, subjects, issues, and usually we do have many of these. Today it's going to be all about power and empowerment and disempowerment. But first, let's say in general, what are they? So karmic entanglements, the way they are created, it's all about choice. And choice, well, we have choice at every moment, right? But and we have the choice at every moment. We have one, let's say, elementary choice that we have to make at every moment, which is, do we go the high road? Do we go with our higher self, with the divine? Or do we go with our ego? Do we go with let ourselves be taken over by our emotionality, right? And we have that choice at every moment. And depending on the choice that we make, our timelines take a specific direction, right? Either going the high road or going down into emotionality. And even though we make these choices at every moment, there are moments on our timelines as we move forward through them. There are moments that are more significant, like nodal points, if you like, on the timeline, on our current lifeline. These are moments that have been orchestrated as part of our soul incarnation plan. And in these more significant moments, the choice that we make to take the high road or to go with our ego into emotionality, this choice is more determining. It really not only determines a slight shift in the timeline, but it may determine a whole jump of timeline. And what I'm going to explain is how our timelines, as well as those of our ancestry, weave together, create a weaving, and weave our future lifeline. Well, now what we do in the present moment, in every moment of the present moment, we are walking the path of our future lifeline, which is woven from the convergence, the weaving of our past timeline, genealogical maternal line, and genealogical paternal line in the present moment. Okay, now in those significant moments, these nodal points, we have an opportunity, a more significant opportunity to take the high road. And if we take the high road, we are taken, let's say we are lifted up on a higher vibrational timeline. If we take the lower road, if we get caught up in our emotionality, we end up in either in the same continuation of the same timeline, which may be loaded with loops and patterns, repetition, or we may even go into lower vibration timeline. Okay. Now, when we orchestrate our soul incarnation plan, we give ourselves challenges. Sometimes we give ourselves a lot of challenges. Sometimes we're a bit ambitious, but it's all something that we do with our guides, and it's all divinely orchestrated. It's always about something that we're capable of, right? And in those challenges, the challenge that we give ourselves is to take the high road in those significant moments, and ideally in every moment of our life, to take the high road again and again and again, to make the choice, whatever is the choice that is engaged in that every moment, to make the choice to go with our higher selves, to make the choice to go with the divine. And that's what determines our highest timeline. Okay. And that's how, when we create our soul incarnation plan, well, the ambition is to set ourselves up on our highest possible timeline, knowing that it is possible that we're going to make it. It is possible that we're not going to make it every time, but we can correct, like a GPS, right? When we miss the exit on the highway, the GPS recalculates and reorganizes our journey so that we get the chance to exit again. In the same way, with the choices that we make, if we miss at a nodal point, if we miss taking the high road, there will be other opportunities. So we are offered these opportunities again and again. And the intention that we have in the soul incarnation plan is that we're going to be as consistent as possible with making the high choice and taking the high road. Now, what happens is that, well, sometimes we make it, sometimes we don't. And when we don't, it usually, if not all of the time, is because we are taken over by our emotionality. Let's say fear takes us over, or anger takes us over, or a whole mix of emotions take us over, and can be so loud and can be so overpowering that we forget to reach out to the divine. We forget to reach out to our higher selves. And here we go, sliding down into our ego selves and making decisions and having responses or reactions that are emotionally loaded, as opposed to being divinely loaded. Now, when this happens when this has happened in a past life, or in a genealogical, maternal or paternal incarnation, when this has happened in a very significant way, let's say it's been a very traumatic situation or very intense situation, or when it happens repeatedly during an incarnation, what happens is that the effect of that is that there's an imprint on the timeline, not only on the, yes, there's an imprint on the timeline, such that in the next incarnation, we will carry over this emotionality, and we will carry over the imprint of this missing the high road and sliding into the emotionality and the ego. And this is how the karmic entanglements are created. This is how they are rooted. by a significant moment of missing the high road, and this energy, emotionality, mental imprint, all of this being imprinted on our timeline as well as on our genealogical lines as well. And when it is imprinted, then it's carried from lifetime to lifetime, like it's cascading, if you like. Uh, or if it's on the ancestral lines, it is passed on, it is carried on from generation to generation. And what happens is in the current lifetime where we are now, if you remember, I mentioned earlier how our present moment and our future lifeline, which we are walking at every moment in the present moment, it is the result of the weaving of these three lines, right? Past timeline, genealogical, maternal, and paternal. In the present moment, they converge and they merge together and create what the present moment is made of. Now, when the lines are loaded with imprints of making the divine choice, the choice of the divine and higher self, that's what is present in the present moment. When the timelines, past lives, genealogical, maternal, and paternal, are loaded with the imprints of having made the choice of the ego and being taken over by emotionality and those karmic entanglements, then we end up being like trapped in this stress web that is the resulting of these forces of the karmic entanglements that are flowing through these three lines, being woven into the present moment. And it's like the stress web is like a spider's web, a cobweb, in which we end up being like a prey that is being trapped in this spider web. And our experience in the present moment and in the current lifetime is of those karmic entanglements repeating again and again and again, and our experiences being of repetition and loops and patterns of the same over and over again. So before I go on, Lauren, does that make sense so far? What
You
do you
have
think
explained it
about?
so well. Thank you for that. It's very, very clear that it's our past lives, it's the genealogical lines of our maternal and our paternal. And most of us are really not aware of this. And so you spoke of nodal points.
Yes.
How would we know a nodal point that we miss? Is this where things, as you mentioned, get really emotional for us?
Yes, well, let's say, okay, let's take the ideal situation. When we are tuned in, when we are in divine alignment and we are tuned in with our higher self, we recognize, let's say, our higher self signals us the nodal points, the nodal moments, and we recognize them by the energy of the moment. Like we get the awareness, whatever is the way that we experience energy, right? Some of us are more clairaudient, so maybe they hear their higher self saying, watch out, this is an important moment. The decision you're going to make is going to be significant. Or it can be visual, or it can be through sensations, or it can be simply a knowing. And we get that. We get some moments of decisions that we are aware that the decision we make, even if it may seem like a minor decision, it's actually a nodal point. It has significant it's going to have significant repercussions that we may not even be aware of, but it's part of the orchestration. So when we are finely tuned in or reasonably tuned in, we get the awareness of that. When we are not so tuned in, well, even if we're not so aware of our higher self is always there for us, right? As well as our guardian angels, our guides, and they take care of us at every moment, and they try to bring to our attention that this is an important moment, this is an important decision. So how do they reach out to us? Well, they might make us emotional about it so that we pay attention, so that we get yes, we pay attention to the decision that is coming. We don't just run into it and just, like mm, just running into it in autopilot, right? So whatever is the way that we operate and that our higher team, let's say, takes care of us, they will reach out to us to let us know, or at least try to let us know that this is an important and significant decision. And then it depends how much we pay attention, how much we listen, how much we respond also. Sometimes we don't want to know. Sometimes we deny, right? Because we maybe are not our human. That's where we need to bring into the picture. There is our divine self and our higher self bringing our divine self, but there is our human self who has their own way, right? And depending on where we are at with our higher self and divine self and with our human self, it may be one or the other that is taking over at a specific moment. Well, the human self may not be ready to confront themselves to that important decision, or may not want to know that it is an important decision, or may not even want to take that decision, and then start consciously or unconsciously orchestrating all sorts of things going on, chaos, drama, nonsense, possibly, in order to, for example, avoid making that decision, or making it in a way that is totally mindless as opposed to being mindful, right? So it can be that we create unconsciously, we create an accident or a situation that prevents us from having, like, disqualifies us from getting into the situation in which we have that decision to make, okay? Or getting sick, or we may get drunk in order to just get out of this whole awareness, right? To anesthetize ourselves, get drunk, or do whatever other coping mechanism and addiction we may have that we use in order to anesthetize ourselves from the from our, that's what our human self tends to do, may tend to do, when the human self is not fully ready to take the high road and to take the divine responsibility that we have given ourselves an assignment of during this lifetime. Okay.
Yes, and as you're speaking, I'm thinking about instances where maybe there's still some healing that needs to be done. So, for example, if the human self is not ready to make a decision from the higher road, it could be because that wounded child or the wounded teenager or something else along that journey still needs that attention and is enjoying the experience, right? I mean, something personally in my life recently, I realized, wow, that's my wounded teenager. And my wounded teenager actually likes what is going on here. So
Mm.
that's interesting. But then I would think that at a point, once that healing is done, or that experience is done for that wounded inner child or the inner teenager, then the choice to be more of the divine human higher self, the divine higher self, can actually come in to make those choices and those decisions that are significant. Okay.
Well, yeah, yes, and here's the thing, here's the trick with the karmic entanglements, is that because they are rooted in all the three lines, right? Our personal past timeline, which includes this current incarnation, so including the teenager, the inner child, even being in the womb, right? And includes our past lives, but it includes also this current lifetime and our genealogical maternal and paternal lines. These three weave together in the present moment. Now, we may have done some work or some maybe significant work on one of the lines. Maybe we've done a lot of work on our own healing, right? In this lifetime, maybe even past lives. But if the issue is still rooted in the other lines, the genealogical maternal and paternal, for example, then the energy of it keeps being fueled into our present moment, and there may be forces that are so powerful that we are not yet, our human self is still taken over by the emotionality and the load, the imprint that comes from these two lines, right? So because of and that's what creates these repetitions, right? And this sense of, not only this sense, this experience, which drives you crazy when it happens, experience of healing something, and yet it seems like no matter what the healing you do, it's still present, it's still it is still coming back. You still experience the same loops and patterns, because we need to take care, in the presence of karmic entanglements, we need to take care not only of the root on one of the lines, the three lines, but on all three lines. Otherwise, we are still impacted. So that's what makes them so very persistent.
That explains it. Thank you. I was missing that part. And so
Right.
it's not just the wounded teenager, it is ancestral, paternal, and maternal. So
Yeah.
then, how would we begin to go explore? I know that that's your work, that's what you do, and you have a beautiful process that really allows us to look into that. It's quite amazing. And it's our higher self that's showing us that. So
Yeah.
really, we need to pause and contemplate these ancestral lines. How do you begin to go and, I want to say, what's the word when you go in and dig deep into that?
Yes. Well, the first step really is the realization of these, being in these loops and patterns, and being trapped, right? Being in this entrapment, right? These are entanglements, as I described, as a cobweb, right? Being trapped in something that keeps repeating over and over again, and maybe again doing some degree of healing on it, and yet it's still coming back, it's still present, it's not, and it's not exactly the same, it's just that there are other strings, right? So with this recognition, we realize that, oh, this is not only my teenager acting up that I needed to heal, but for this issue, it is also from my maybe also past lives and the other two lines, ancestrals. Now, the way these three lines combine together on a specific issue, and as I said at the beginning, we can have karmic entanglements on many, many issues. So on a specific issue, a specific topic, when we recognize that we run these loops and patterns, and that it seems that we are trapped as a prey in a cobweb, we need to first, what's the first step after this realization, this awareness, is to identify where is this attached in our aura. And where it is attached in our aura is how it is impacting us in this lifetime, right? It is how the three lines woven together, where are they attached in our aura. Usually it's at the proximity or right there in a specific chakra, but it can be also in, well, we have chakras in the hands, right? It can be also in some specific area of the body. And the way it's attached there is how it impacts us in this lifetime. And first, unweaving this, right? Detaching this gives us a little bit of relief. But then we need to do the work of unweaving at each of the 3 points of origin. So the way I operate is I like to be very systematic, to do things in order and to have a method and to go by it. And the good thing with this is that our higher selves love structure, and our unconscious mind loves structure. Unconscious mind works with instructions, and when we give instructions and we proceed with the same process, it's much easier. It's like saying, this is how we do it. And then the unconscious mind understands, this is how we do it. Yes, we do it, right? Like a program, running a program. So we go into the past timeline, recognizing, identifying where on the past timeline, whether on this lifetime or past life, where is the point of origin? Where are the karmic entanglements attached? Where was this nodal point, right? And this can be identified. One can identify, sorry, can identify it for themselves if they have this ability to read for themselves, or I can read, this is something I can read for a client, right? And I do that for clients. And then going to the point of origin, gathering the karmic lesson, what holds the karmic entanglements in place, like hooked up on the or pinned on a location on the past timeline or the genealogical, maternal or paternal lines, what keeps them pinned in place and anchored there is that there is a karmic lesson to collect. The karmic lesson that was missed at the moment when the experience was lived, when making the choice of the high road was missed, and we ended up, or our ancestors ended up taking the lower road. That's where the karmic lesson is, the karmic lesson that was missed. This karmic lesson is very precious for our soul's journey and for our continuation of our soul's journey. So the key is to, at the point of origin, collect the karmic lesson. And once the karmic lesson is collected, we can clear the residue on the timeline. What is so impressive every time we do this work, I'm still amazed. I've done hundreds of these sessions with clients. I use it with myself. Every time I'm amazed how the intensity with which the karmic entanglements hold us trapped until the karmic lesson is collected, the whole of the karmic lesson. Once we have it all, poof, it is instantly transmuted. This cobweb is transmuted into, if you can imagine a spider's web, well, there's a spider web that is alive, that the spider is actually living on and taking care of. It has energy to it, and it's strong, it's sticky, it has energy and it has life to it. A spider web that is abandoned, it has no strength to it. It's just dust, right? And you can just clear it, just grabbing it and throw it away. Well, the moment we collect the karmic lesson, the spider web, the substance that held us trapped so persistently is transmuted in just residue, and we can feel how we were held so tight. Poof. Once we got the whole karmic lesson complete, we just need to brush. It's like brushing away the residue, and we are free. Not only are we free, but we are we have recovered the karmic lesson that has been missed. So we are rising to a higher vibration and rising to a higher, well, to a higher timeline. We are actually catching up where we had the opportunity to jump or to move up to a higher timeline, what we had missed. Now it is being restored, and we are enriched with the karmic lesson that we have gathered and that we integrate and that we now live by. So instead of living by the repetition of what had been missed back then, and the emotional and mental energetic imprint, we start living by the karmic lesson, which is soul empowering, right? It empowers us on our soul journey. So we do that. Now, again, we need to be systematic and complete, comprehensive. We do that on each of the 3 lines. So once we've done it with the past timeline, we do with the genealogical maternal line, with genealogical paternal line. And here is your stress web, your cobweb has been, just like it had been entangled, now it has been disentangled and unwoven. And again, not only are we free, but we are rich from the karmic lessons that we have collected, that we have integrated, that we are ready to live by. And we are elevated to a higher timeline, and we are ready to go and ready to, go and be operating at a much higher vibrational level.
Yes, I know that is the need of the hour, and you really have nailed or pegged, let's say, what's going on and how that works and how it functions. So, okay, beautiful. Then this is a beautiful time to talk about a workshop series, because what you're talking about is really in depth. And you are offering a beautiful package, some workshops, 3 workshops that go into different areas. And this can be done on a group level. And that's what makes it so powerful. Plus, one-on-one sessions work good, but tell us about these workshops coming up, because
Yeah,
that's where the true work is going to be done and targeted.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lauren. So yes, I operate by assignments. I get my divine assignments, and I'm very obedient. So I do what I'm asked to do. And that was the new package that I've been prompted or assigned to create and to offer to the New Earth One network is ultimate power liberation, because there is a need for us to rise in power, and to significantly rise in power, and to rise actually in the power of the divine within us, right? So this is all about disempowerment. It's a trilogy of workshops, and we're going to be very systematic in these workshops, and to be very deep and profound. And it is a trilogy because what I've been shown is that, well, there is core disempowerment, and that's going to be our first workshop, clearing the karmic entanglements of disempowerment. So freedom from karmic entanglements of disempowerment. But there are, let's say, some side dishes that need to be taken care of, because if they are still running, even if we took care of the core disempowerment, if we have these two others that are still running, it's going to sabotage our empowerment. So these other two, the side dishes, that, as I like to call them, are failure and abuse of power. And these are big chunks, right? These are big, big chunks. So what we're going to do in our workshop trilogy is that we're going to be together on a journey of 3 weeks. And every week, one workshop. The first workshop, workshop A, freedom from karmic entanglements of disempowerment. We come together in group, and I guide and support the group to clear the karmic entanglements of disempowerment in the way that I described earlier, first in the aura, then in the past timeline, in the genealogical maternal line, in the genealogical paternal line, collecting the wisdom, the karmic lessons, and clearing the residue. And the way I operate in this work, I work very closely with the Lipika. The Lipika, they are the celestial beings who have the role of being the scribes of karma. So they are supporting us in identifying the nodal points on the and the points of origin of the karmic entanglements on the past timelines and genealogical maternal and paternal. They're also supporting the recovery of the karmic lessons, right? Because there's the scribes of karma. So working with them gives us this facility. It makes it easier. And also I bring an orb of truth at each point of origin on each of the lines. Bringing an orb of truth facilitates the revelation of what is it that was going on at that moment in which we missed the high road, and what is the karmic lesson. Sometimes we need to know what was going on, sometimes we don't need to know what was going on, and we can count on our higher selves to take us either way. The essential again is to collect the karmic lesson. And so within the orb of truth, I guide every participant to the workshop to work with their higher self. So having their higher self do the work of clearing, and do the work of collecting the karmic lessons, and do the work of clearing the residue. And then we bring light into the timelines, like in a way of healing and restoring and nourishing the timelines. So we do that very systematically, line by line and workshop by workshop. So first week, workshop A, clearing the karmic entanglements of disempowerment. It's going to take care of a lot of the disempowerment. But then second week, for everyone who has an imprint of failure, who is running failure, who is bumping again and again into situations of failure, maybe having been called you're a failure, or thinking of themselves, I'm a failure. Now, when you run failure in your energy, what happens is you project unconsciously, your energy magnetizes failure, and you end up in a self-fulfilling prophecy that what you experience is failure. And then it just keeps like snowball, it just keeps growing, right? And growing and growing. So we need to clear the karmic entanglements of failure, so
Wow.
that it gets also out of the way, because otherwise we can do disempowerment. If we still have failure, it's still not, we're still not going to be very empowered, right? So that's a big one. And the other big one, so that's week 2. Week 3, we get into something that is, well, it takes us really deep and to some profound places and dark places where there has been abuse of power. As long as we run abuse of power in our energy, as long as we carry it within us, that's what we're going to experience. And if there is abuse of power in our energy, we cannot be fully empowered, right? So we need to again clear the karmic entanglements of abuse of power, which covers all the different situations in the past, in our past timelines, in our ancestry, where we have abused power. We need to recognize that this has happened or may have happened, or our ancestors may have done it, where we have witnessed abuse of power, where we have been subject to abuse of power. All of this is entangled, and all of this needs to be cleared so that our empowerment is real and true and effective. Okay, so 3 weeks, 3 degrees, we go deeper and deeper, right? We have the core disempowerment. That's wonderful job. Then we go where it hurts the most, right? The failure and the abuse of power. And what I do is that for every workshop, I like in the way that I work, in every work that I do with client, to incorporate a phase of preparation, so that when we come to the workshop or to the private session, just the same, we don't just jump into the subject, but our higher selves has prepared us already, and some of the work has already started. And the way I do that is that for every client, as soon as you purchase either one workshop, so you can take the full trilogy, right, the full journey of 3, or you can purchase each one by one, no matter how you purchase. The moment you buy, you receive by email detailed instructions on how to prepare for this workshop. And the point of this preparation is to gain awareness of this issue, this theme that you're going to be clearing in the next workshop. So you're going to have your instructions on gaining awareness of your disempowerment. And so I give you a number of quite a good bunch of questions for you to ponder, to journal, to meditate on, to contemplate, that brings to the surface your experiences, that you have awareness of. Maybe your higher self is already going to bring you some memories from this lifetime, maybe even from your ancestors that you don't even know. Your higher self may start feeding you awareness. In any case, you come to the workshop prepared, like you have simmered it already. And once you bring it to the workshop, your being is really, really ready to be done with and to clear those karmic entanglements. Okay, so you have, not only it's a 3-week journey, but there's the preparation phase. So ideally, I like to that's the way I like to suggest, is for each person to spend a week of preparation for each workshop. So if you come and prepare the first workshop during about a week, right, you make some notes, you journal, you contemplate, you leave it to rest. Then after a few days, there's going to be more. You're going to notice more of the disempowerment. The greater the awareness. The trick is, the greater the awareness you have, the easier way you're going to have a greater liberation and transformation, right? It's like it's been simmering and then it's cooked and it's ready to just to melt down, right? And so you have this first preparation week, first workshop, and then once the first workshop is completed, maybe you give yourself a day or two of integration, and then you prepare the second workshop and you roll like this over the 3 weeks. So it's more like a 4 weeks, a 4 week journey through the workshops. The workshops are tremendously powerful. The feedback that I just keep receiving, no matter what is the topic that we do clearing karmic entanglements about, the feedback is amazing because of the way the process has been designed, again, to work with your higher self. And I use language. That's the origin of my healing work, is rooted in language when I trained in neuro-linguistic programming. So the way I use language, I give instructions that take care for every situation. So there's the situation in which your higher self gives you the insights, right? You see or you see or hear or get a knowing of what was going on at the moment where the karmic entanglements were created. Maybe you get to perceive what was going on there. But even if you get to perceive, that's great. But even if you don't, your higher self can operate without you knowing and being aware. So using language in very fine ways and very intentional ways, I take care that your higher self is going to lead you through the process, and you're going to have an awareness of the process. You may not get an awareness of the karmic lessons right away, but your higher self collects the karmic lessons and will bring them to your attention at the right moment. So it may be a few days later, maybe it's even a month later, that suddenly you get the aha, and that's it. That's when it comes to your awareness. So with this way of proceeding, it's like throwing a fishing net, a very wide fishing net, that your higher self collects everything, takes care of everything. For example, as we said on the timelines, the nodal point. Well, if during the workshop, as I guide you, if your higher self gives you the indication, oh, this is rooted, let's say, 35 lifetimes ago, great. You know where to go, go 35 lifetimes ago. But what if you don't get a number? Well, I guide you in a specific way that even if you don't get a number, that's okay. Your higher self knows where to go. Ask your higher self to take you there. So whatever is the degree of awareness that you have during the workshop, you get the results, right? You may have no clue of what happened when, and yet get all the shifting. You'll be yawning all the time, maybe having a lot of tears, whatever is the way that you experience energy shifts. Maybe you get shivers, right? And you end up feeling total and being totally free and liberated, right? So it is very powerful, especially when we're gonna, I can see it already. This is a brand new program, brand new offering, and I can perceive the power of using this process to bring our power, because this is all about bringing our divine power, right? When we liberate ourselves from disempowerment, the empowerment that we gain is the power of the divine within us, the power of us taking the high road and going with our higher selves, going with the divine. So that's going to be very not only empowering, but very powerful in the way it operates and in the way it sets us on a whole new trajectory.
Sophie, it is, I just want to say thank you for being obedient to your higher self, because this is extremely powerful. Already, I am feeling this. I've had the beautiful opportunity to have a personal session with you, and I witnessed that, and I know what you do. So as you were describing this, I'm getting chills right now. I could already begin to feel, without knowing, like what you were talking about, I'm already beginning to feel, wow, and I can feel it working. And what I can feel is a lot of hmm, judgment, self-judgment of me saying something's wrong with me, where it's like, no, it's part of our soul journey. We all signed up for this, and this is the cleanup work that we're doing. And it's and these three specific lines that you've identified, that takes a lot of the pressure off us and a lot of the judgment. And so there's no need to judge, but just bring in this awareness for this incredible liberation that we're about to embark on. So I love it. I love that our higher selves are working with us, the lords of karma assisting us. And I know that the dream space is really powerful at allowing us to integrate this as well. So even when people see this video that we're doing right now, this right now is an activation. I just want to
Yes.
reiterate that because I'm feeling it. These are really important. The disempowerment, I mean, I think we can all feel disempowerment, but the next two, the failure, that is so huge. I
Mm-hmm.
think everyone watching and listening has felt that sense of failure. And in reality, we really see where it's a roadblock for many
Yeah.
people. Fear
Yeah.
of failure, that
Mm.
failure in the past, fear of failure keeps us stuck, keeps us in that loop. So we
It's
can move on.
paralyzing, right?
It's
It's a
paralyzing.
paralyzing fear.
Yes. And then the abuse of power, that's like the flip side of it, where that gets even darker, where it's like, ooh, and especially for light workers, we're here in this lifetime to be the love and to bring the love. And so this is really important to look at ways that not only have we abused power, but the witnessing, maybe we've
Mhm.
witnessed abuse of family members when we were small children, but we can trace that back along the familial lines, the ancestral lines. And so again, it takes the pressure off us, the guilty feelings of us, and just responsibility that we chose the bloodline, the ancestral line, and we're going to come in and do that work. So this is absolutely huge. I would say no matter who is who on the planet, this
Yes.
is, we have all got this.
Absolutely. It is a big chunk.
Yeah,
Power, disempowerment, empowerment, and I mean, honestly, is there anyone who can claim that they have, through time and history, that they have been unaffected at all in their
yeah,
past lives, in their ancestry,
yeah,
by disempowerment and or failure and or abuse of power? No one has been immune to this. No one. So
exactly.
it's really, and yet, yes, it is time for, we are called to a greater power and to embrace and own a higher degree of power. But the only way we can do this is by liberating ourselves from these. And for failure, there's something very specific to it, which is failure is such a human thing and it is loaded with judgment.
Hmm.
But in the eyes of the divine, there is no failure, right? There is no failure. And we need to, I'm seeing like an eraser and erasing, right? We need to erase failure and the imprints of failure that has loaded humanity and that we still carry in so many ways, because failure is an invention. Failure is an invention. There is no failure, actually. And we may mentally wrap our head around this, and we may agree to this, and we may even brush in a kind of a way of almost spiritual bypassing. Oh, I know I've never failed, there's no failure. Well, on the surface we may know that, but if deep inside we run the program and unconsciously we hold failure, or if we've been labeled a failure, or even if we're so not aware of it that it has nothing to do with this current life, even though we experience it, but it is rooted in our past lives and ancestral lives, we don't know that it's present, and yet we just keep tripping into it and we don't understand it. We need to erase failure. I realize that that's the decision. We just need to delete failure because it's an invention.
Woo, we can feel that. And I know that this resonates deeply with so many of us, and we're in gratitude for that. So we can feel the immensity of this. We can feel the power of this, the liberation of this. And so we invite everyone to check this out and to spend those really, it's multi-dimensional time that we're going to spend with you, because it's
Yeah.
such deep, deep work. It's more than just the 3 classes, the 4 weeks in preparation and all of that. So thank you for it. There's also a personal session option with
Yes.
you. And I want to
Yes.
say that's where this one-on-one attention, if people can take this opportunity, I really encourage it, because
Yeah.
I mean, all of the work is really good. This is just the final ultimate attention to us, and you help
Exactly.
facilitate that. Share a little bit. We're going to experience a inner power checkup process
Yeah.
with you,
Yeah.
but share with us a little bit about the personal sessions, because those are
Yes.
exquisite.
Yeah. So thank you, Lauren. Yes, the session. So what we're going to do first, we're going to have the workshops, right? All that can be done in group. Let's do collectively all that can be done with the power of the group. But then we get into private individual work for those who choose to do so. And what we're going to do is that either you're gonna know that one of these three is a big one for you, like maybe your degree of disempowerment is so huge that, and you feel within yourself that it will take you places within you that maybe are just too huge or too dark, and going by yourself is difficult and you're reluctant to it. That's my role, to go there with you where it's really dark, really deep, or where the things are just so intricate that we need to go there together, and I bring my ability to disentangle, right? um, it may be that it's about the failure or about the abuse of power. So you may know that one of these three is a big one for you, and that you want to go through the collective journey, but you want to tackle that one, and you feel that it's gonna need private, personal guidance, support, fine work of disentanglement to tackle it, and to do it together, right? So you may have identified that there's one of these and you may know which one, or you can ask me to scan for you, right? If you feel that, well, all about power, empowerment, disempowerment is a big deal for you and has been, and you feel that you are ready to go to the bottom of it with a private session. If you don't know which one of the three, just ask me to scan for you, and I scan for you. And usually what happens is that the client has a sense of which one it is, and then ask me to scan and it confirms, or something else shows up, and that's fine. What I recommend is to wait until after the workshop series has been completed, the trilogy, because we will have done a lot of deep clearing work. And what maybe initially seemed to you as the big deal, maybe after the workshops, well, it's not the one big deal anymore, and it's another one that your higher self points to as the private session. And then so we identify which of the three you're going to liberate yourself from in this crystalline karmic liberation session. And then the session is designed to proceed in the same way as we do in the workshop. So I guide you, create the sacred space, crystalline chamber of light, working with the Lipika, working with the scribes of karma, working with the orb of truth. We go into your aura, clearing in your aura, clearing in your past timeline, genealogical maternal, genealogical paternal line, in each line, collecting the pearls of wisdom, the karmic lesson, and clearing the residue. So same structure. Actually, when I started my work of clearing karmic entanglements, I started with the session. And I did sessions, hundreds and hundreds of sessions, and I was just kept asking and praying. I wanted to impact more, right? There's only so many sessions I can do. So I asked, how can I bring this to the collective? And it took, maybe 2 years of me doing sessions and sessions, so many sessions. Suddenly it was revealed to me how to make the session, turn the session into a workshop with the similar approach, and to operate in a group setting. So it's just the same process, but at the level of the individual. Obviously, you get all my attention, all my care, and we're all about you. And one of my specificities is to go very deep and go into the dark places. I see like a deep dive in the underwater, right? In the ocean. When you at the surface, maybe there is light and everything, but when we go deep, when we dive deeply, it gets dark. It may get dark. There may be weird creatures and things going on there. That's my forte, and I guide you there. We take care of collecting the lessons. It's like going on a treasure hunt, right? Finding the treasure that's buried under the seas. We collect the treasure and come back to the surface, clear the residue, and we do that together, and it is incredibly liberating. What's amazing is that in the whole depth of it, there are moments of tremendous joy that bubbles up when we get the karmic lessons. It's like bubbles that of joy that are liberated as well. And so while it's very profound and can be very deep, it is very deep, it can get into some dark places. It is very joyful, actually, and very light, because we take care to go with our higher team and all the support that we need from the higher realms. And also my knowing, I know absolutely that when we go, we're gonna find the treasure and we're gonna go back. So it's just a matter of doing it, right? It's just a matter of doing it. So with that, I can be very lighthearted because, well, we're going on a deep dive. We're going on an adventure, and that's the crystalline karmic liberation session. Beautiful, magnificent. The feedback on it is even, yes, greater than on the workshops.
Yes, we get a lot of great people saying incredible comments, very supportive. This is the real deal, everyone. This is incredible energy work. This is course correction. This is deep excavation of timelines. Sophie Bidard is a beautiful teacher, a beautiful way shower that simply is guiding, working with her higher self, working with your higher self, really facilitating your higher self, or it's really everyone's own higher self doing this work. But Sophie, what you do is direct it, like directing the flow of water towards the healing. And so thank you for this. It really is incredible work that you are offering the planet, a lot of healing, and this is where it becomes empowering. You're all about empowerment. And so, again, I'll just say this is the deep cleanup that we as humans, souls, we came into the human experience as souls to do this deep clearing in this lifetime. So it's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, you can scroll down right here on this webpage or click the link that got you to this video, and you'll see the beautiful opportunity to work with Sophie Bidard. So we're going to take a little experience right now for a process, working with the orb of truth as well for an inner powered checkup. So Sophie, tell us about this, and we're sitting back and excited for it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So yes, inner power checkup. First, let's just say a few words about why do we care about inner power, right? Well, our inner power, your inner power is really the foundation of your ability to live the life that you were born to live, to fulfill your missions and your assignments, your dharma, and also to clear your karma. To clear your karma, that takes power, right? And it takes an infinite reservoir of divine power that you can tap into and put into motion, into action, and into presence. And sometimes it's not even about taking action, it's about presencing power. Presencing power as you hold a certain frequency. For example, when you do light working for peace, which is very much needed at the moment and it's very dear to my heart, well, holding the frequency of peace and bringing it with your presence everywhere you are, everywhere you go. This will be different if you consciously hold divine power within you or if you don't, right? The imprint of peace that you bring to any situation is magnified, is amplified, and is catalyzed by divine power if and when you bring it to the situation. And it's going to be the same for light working, for love, for truth, for freedom, whatever it is that you are doing. So in short, the question is your light working fueled with the power of 1,000 suns, or is it not? And I'm talking about light working, but it's actually about every aspect of our lives. But I know that this is a very sensitive topic in the sense that it is dear to our hearts in this community that you gather, Lauren. So there's also about that there's a degree of maturity as light workers that as we move forward in the ascension, it grants us greater access to power, to more powerful power, let's say. But this also requires and demands that we be clear, that we are, our inner power be clear. So with that, you're going to, in this inner power checkup, you're going to receive an orb of truth that's going to be placed around your aura. And within this safe, sacred space, you will be prompted with questions to explore the presence within you of disempowerment in ways or to a degree that you may have been unaware of. So we are already starting to bring it up, okay? So let's get started. You may want to close your eyes if you want, and if it is safe, of course, for you to do so, and turn your attention inwards. And I invite you to relax and take a few deep breaths. Bringing all your attention, all your presence here and now. You can decide to open your heart and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth. And your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe. So that you are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe, relaxed, ready, and open to receive. Now, as I tune into the galactic center, I call an orb of truth to be placed around your aura. And you can claim it now out loud or silently if you have to. I welcome and receive the orb of truth around my aura. And I'm offering this orb of truth, placing it around your aura, feeling and bathing your aura with the highest, the purest vibration of truth, holding you safe, protected, informed in this truthful, high vibrational space. Allow any adjustments to this highest vibration of truth, any adjustments that need to happen, let them just happen naturally within your body, your heart, your mind, your whole being held in truth. Beautiful. Now let's begin bringing questions to begin the exploration, the discovery, the revelation, proceeding to your inner power checkup. So within the orb of truth, ask your higher self to allow you to perceive to what degree, to what extent, and in what ways are you holding feelings, beliefs, loops and patterns, energetic imprints of disempowerment, lacking authority over yourself, over your life, your circumstances. Being at the effect of others, of your environment, of the world at large. Easily influenced, dominated, manipulated. Weak energetic grounding, not standing for yourself, not standing for your truth, your path. Fatigue and lack of strength, lack of stamina, lack of resilience. Leaking energy, ending up depleted no matter how much you build up energy. Lack of charisma, not being heard, not being seen, not being taken into consideration. wanting to hide, to be invisible, to be unnoticed. Inability to get actions and projects started, sustained, completed. Lack of creativity and original, truthful expression. Giving your power away, having your power hijacked or taken from you. Lack of self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence. Imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud. Inability to say no. Avoiding important conversations and decisions. Concern about what other people think. Self-judgment, self-censoring. Worry, anxiety. Codependency, lack of independence and self-reliance. Indecision, difficulty making decisions, reconsidering or questioning your decisions. Fear, guilt, shame, despair, anger, covering up those deeper emotions. Being oblivious to your own strengths and quality that others can perceive. Feeling awkward, sheepish, humiliated. Fear of power, fear of success. Avoiding the realization of your soul's purpose. Procrastinating, self-sabotaging, and more, so many more ways of disempowerment. And breathe. Within the orb of truth, ask your higher self to allow you to perceive to what extent and in what ways are you holding feelings, beliefs, energetic imprints, loops, and patterns of failure. Failure, woundedness, stigma from experiences in this lifetime, in past lives, in your genealogical heritage. Failure identity. I'm a failure. My life is a failure. All I do is fail. Everything I do fails. Paralyzing fear of failure. Even terror, leading to apathy, inaction, indecision, procrastination, self-sabotage, avoidance. Sickness, injuries, accidents unconsciously created to avoid potential failure. Not showing up, making excuses, flaking out of situations. Lack of purpose, meaninglessness, feeling empty inside. Shame, guilt, despair, unworthiness. self-judgment and condemnation. Manifesting failure out of projection, like self-fulfilling prophecy. Pressure of success, being overly eager to succeed. Overwhelming stress with the compulsion to succeed, to prove yourself, to break the curse of failure. Lack of flow, lack of joy and fulfillment in the experiences of projects and initiatives. And breathe. Within the orb of truth, ask your higher self to allow you to perceive to what extent and in what ways are you holding feelings, beliefs, loops and patterns, energetic imprints of abuse of power. Abuse of power inflicted upon you in this lifetime, in past lives, in your genealogical heritage. Abusing power, manipulating, dominating, corruption and corrupting in this lifetime, in your past lives, in your genealogical heritage. Witnessing abuses of power, manipulation, domination, corruption. Again, in this lifetime, in your past timeline, in your genealogical maternal and paternal lines. Overwhelming, paralyzing fear of power, fear of being in power, of being empowered, fear of taking back your power, fear of owning your inherent power, your divine power. Blanket aversion to power in all its forms and expressions. Avoidance of any situation involving power and empowerment. Indiscriminate reluctance and rejection of power and empowerment. Despise for people in position of power. Guilt, shame, terror, pain associated with power. And breathe. Coming back to here and now. Take a moment to make mental notes of the awareness you have gained, the status of your inner power fitness, and where your higher self has been calling your attention. And breathe. Well done for acknowledging all that came to the surface. It takes courage to face it, so well done for being willing to notice all that you have noticed. Be open to more insights coming to your attention in the next few hours and days, as these questions may keep poking you. You may gather more insights, more greater awareness. We give gratitude to the orb of truth and allow it to remain and surround us and hold us in truth for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I want to complete this experience with a gift of power claiming key. Power claiming keys are mantras that I create with higher self, mantras of the heart that have the power to change lives. That's what people have said, receiving them, using them, claiming them. So let me offer you this power claiming key. As you receive it, I'm going to repeat it a couple times for you to really absorb it, integrate it, let it settle in. As you receive it, pay attention to responses you get in your mind, in your heart, in your whole body. Just be in the experience of receiving. Here is your power claiming key. Even if I don't know how, I intend to liberate my ultimate power fully and completely now. And I ask to be guided and supported. Even if I don't know how, I intend to liberate my ultimate power fully and completely now. And I ask to be guided and supported. And one more time, and you're welcome to join me and claim it for yourself. Even if I don't know how, I intend to liberate my ultimate power fully and completely now. And I ask to be guided and supported. And breathe. Thank you. Thank you for receiving this gift. Thank you again for your courage, exploring your inner power. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sophie. That was so well-rounded. That hit so many aspects. It almost hit all the aspects of humanness, and it was so beautiful. And that was just a little experience.
Yeah.
Much more can be had from the workshops that you're going to be holding, but this was so beautiful. It in itself, it was life-changing. It is life-changing. And that inner power checkup, wow, wow. It really reveals a lot of the work that each of us have to do, and how different aspects for each of us.
Yeah.
You know, some may not resonate with everything, but there were so many themes that were touched on. We all have a lot of work, inner work to heal, to correct. It's not, we don't need to fix anything. It's this awareness that you help bring into our presence that is already feeling so good. I just want to thank you one more time because this was in itself really powerful. And I truly hope everyone watching and listening felt this. I myself was shifted. If I look back at even the energy that I brought into today, I am elated right now. And I'm not the only one, Sophie. So many of us are shifted. And that is so beautiful. Timelines have shifted just from this episode today.
Yeah,
Thank
that's true. That's true. Absolutely. You are set on a whole new trajectory already. Yeah. Thank
Yes. Oh my goodness.
you.
So, wow. Thank you for this beautiful experience today, the wisdom that you bring forth. We're really excited for this and looking forward to it. Even if people do not join that class, what has happened here is absolutely life-changing. We thank everyone for receiving it and taking this into the world. And again, we invite you to join Sophie for this workshop and your own excavation into your own liberation. Find those karmic lessons and embrace them and liberate yourself. Sophie, as we say goodbye, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, I just want to say, as a healer, there are many things I can do and many things I do, but clearing karmic entanglements, I've received it as a gift, as a sacred gift, and it truly is a gift. I experience it, what it brings out of me is something else. It's of another dimension. It's like a musician, may play different instruments, but there's that one that whenever they pick up that one instrument, it's just something else, right? Well, for me, that's clearing karmic entanglements. And so it is such a joy for me to offer this, and it is such an honor, and I have so much appreciation for your invitation, Lauren, to offer this package. And I feeling, as we were talking about it, I feel the power of it. What's very interesting is that whenever we do karmic entanglements, there's an empowerment to it. But now that we bring it to the very topic of power, it's like empower, it's like catalyzed power. And I just realized in the time that we had together, so I'm even more honored and delighted and very grateful for this opportunity. And I hope everyone with whom it resonates will join for the workshop trilogy, join for the private session, join for one workshop. You're welcome, and let's do this. Let's reclaim our divine power. That's my final word. Let's reclaim our divine power. Thank you.
That feels so good. And catalyzed power. I hope people write that down. Catalyzed power. It's ours and we feel it. We are it and it is divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sophie Bidard. This has been amazing. We are lifted. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.